Good evening. I am Josh Crane up here in a booth with Valparaiso's Ricky Paz here for this evening's rendition of the Garage Shop College Cup Series. Tonight, we are at Rockingham Speedway, and Ricky, that's a name I have not heard in a long time.
I'll tell you, coming off of NASCAR's All-Star race in the real world, we're bringing tracks back, Josh, and we're seeing just how rusty some of our competitors are on an old racing surface that none of us have touched in quite a while.
I'll tell you what, I think I would be rusty at this track. You can see these cars as they go across the front stretch and then down into this very unique, well, it's unique all the way around here, but down in turn one as these cars just bump and bounce all over the racetrack right there. And big loose off for Edwin Onofre from North Texas, that 199 machine. Yeah, Ricky, it is bumpy all the way around this racetrack for these drivers.
Yeah, and as we see him come around the front stretch, you'll see that it's not really straight, but it's not really curved either. We've got kind of a triangle point right around the start-finish line, so that'll make for an interesting um, front straightaway, especially for restarts and for the start of the race. And come time to the end of the race, when we see him coming to the checkered flag, what will that look like?
What will it look like? And we can see our drivers up there on the tower. Cody Hundley, your current pole sitter. Most of these drivers have put a lap together, but some of these drivers just trying to wait. And again, loose off right there for Edwin. And wow, there is no grip. Of course, you know what? You come to this very slick. It's very bumpy. It's patched and sealed, as you can see on the track, Ricky. And you're trying to take these narrow tires and put down about 800 horsepower through those two rear tires. And so I really can't say that I'm so surprised here at the results. And I think we're going to have a lot of contact tonight, frankly, with these cars on this track. It's going to be a test of these drivers for sure.
Yeah, and quite frankly, if we're looking at the leaderboard for qualifying, it's not all that far apart. We're talking maybe a second between first and 20th. So we're all pretty close. I think you're going to see a lot of these drivers try and push the limit of how much speed they can push into these corners. We saw quite a few cars, as we've seen in qualifying too, trying the old power slide in these Gen 4 cars. So it'll be a fun one to watch tonight.
Yeah, it will. That was Waldorf's University, Dustin Buck, and he's cracked the top 10 there. And I'll tell you what, not too far off, but man, so tricky with these drivers. And you can see all the drivers, top 10, just under a quarter of a second. Edwin Onofre. So Edwin is out there. He's trying to get his car dialed in. He's done his qualifying laps, but now just trying to see how does this track respond when you give it more gas and a little bit more competition. So that's going to be something to watch for as well.
I'll tell you what, that North Texas team warmed up those tires all right, sliding through the corners once or twice. So we'll see a lot of that tonight, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we will, and we did end up having a lot of tire wear at Auto Club last week. Opened up our Gen 4 season with the Garage Shop here on board, right at that great California venue, and yeah, I'll tell you what, there it was, down on tire all the way through the race. A lot of drivers, even some green flag pit stops in that one. And viewers will remember that Ohio State University there and Matthew Morton, just the wrong time, plus or minus about 30 seconds, about half a lap for that caution to come out. He was caught a lap down, and that was all she wrote for that race strategy. But we're going to see a little bit more here. Obviously, not 2 miles here. This track is thinner. This track has less grip, and these cars have the same amount of power, and so that's going to be tricky for these drivers. Right there on your screen, Robbie Vrabel, and he's going to try and bump that car up just to 20th position, though. And we know Vrabel is pretty fast, Ricky, but it's just real hard to get a handle on this one.
I'll tell you, Vrabel is one of the hardest drivers to race against. From the driver perspective, he's really talented, but these cars are really leveling the playing field, especially with the summer, seeing some new competitors. And with the new sponsor on board for the series, I think that we're seeing a new leaf turn. And I think that you're going to see some of the drivers that are always in the front struggle a little bit. You're going to see some new names up front, as we already are. And quite frankly, that we got some new colors for the St. Clair car, that St. Clair College. We also know that the O2 car has some new colors in that blue scheme. So you know, he's probably a little bit slow here, and like you said, the track is really bumpy in the corners. But he might just be warming up that car, just like Edwin was too, in that North Texas car, just trying to get ready for this race.
Yeah, that makes total sense, and these drivers are going to be using this time pretty valuable. This is the closest the track is going to be to the race that we are going to grid for now, but that's where those drivers can get a lot of good intel on how those tires are going to fall off in those first couple laps, and 10 minutes is probably about 12 laps or so, and it does not take long at all. That's going to be good information on the tire wear, but Ricky, currently it is time for the qualifying grid, and your pole sitter is going to be East Tennessee State University, the Buccaneers, and Cody Hunley is going to have that number 1 spot. He will be the car that takes the green flag. Clint Halterman in North Carolina at Charlotte going to roll off in P2. Ohio State University and Matthew Morton, the Buckeye, 3rd place. Ken Hunley from Northeast State Technical, he'll be in 4th position. Purdue University is going to roll off 5th via Jeremy Miller, and St. Clair College via Zach DeWale is going to be in 6th position. Waldorf University and Dustin Buck find themselves in 7th place, and Purdue University, the Boilermaker Andrew McCall, going to be in 8th position. Austin DeLong going to be in 9th place, and Edwin Onofre in 10th place for the University of North Texas. Matthew Burton and East Tennessee State University and Drexel University's Jason Willott going to be in that 12th position right there. North Carolina State and Matthew Nordberg going to roll off 13th. The Clemson Tiger, Andrew Williams, he'll be 14th, and followed by his teammate in 15th position. That is Nick Stockner. Indiana's Colin Coppola is going to be in 16th position for this one. Starting 17th is going to be Clemson University's Andrew Burrell. The Virginia Cavalier, Thomas Toomey, from a great GR86 race, is going to roll off 18th in this Gen 4 Cup Series tonight, presented by Garage Shop, and Drexel University's Timothy Wilms in 19th position. 20th position, you watched it here live, St. Clair College, and Robbie Rabel Jr. is going to finish that 20th position. Lee Nutter from East Tennessee State University is going to be 21st, and Robert Morris's Tyler Klingensmith is going to roll off in 22nd. North Carolina at Charlotte's going to put Jacob Weist in that 23rd position, and the Arizona State Sun Devil Connor Levy in that 24th spot, rolling off for the race. And finally, Brandon Schulenberger for Wingate University is going to round out that 25-car field, and we are going green imminently here at the Rock.
Pace cars rolling down the backstretch, and I'm telling you, this is going to be a fun restart. Looking at the track layout, we got this weird little triangle in the front stretch. We're gonna see just how squirrely these cars are on the restart with these 800, 900 horsepower cars. These tires don't really have a lot of grip, I'll tell you, from the tire perspective. I got a little practice in, and these are squirrely cars. So I'm interested to see how they restart here, Josh.
I am too, and I suspect that we may start off with a couple pace laps and yellow flags while these drivers get their bearings here. A little bit out of water, but that ETSU Buccaneer is going to be the car down to the yellow flag. Great start of the race for Niner Esports and North Carolina at Charlotte. He's going to try and stick that car up on the high side, and already just tried to step out on him, Ricky, and it looks like he's going to have to settle for 2nd place straight away.
We're getting single file pretty quickly. We didn't see a lot of double file racing during the practice, but of course we're going to test that. We've got 2 lanes here already rolling. One on the high side, one on the low side is the 07. Looks to take the inside, doesn't quite have the run.
Doesn't quite have the run, and look who is behind. It's the Buckeye, Matthew Morton. He's going to try and get that position, but man, Ricky, where do you put your car? Because these cars, the line is to float up and then come back just off the wall a little bit as you go down and exit that turn 2 onto the backstretch, and you got to agree just how far off that wall that your competitor is going to come.
Yep, this track is quite like none other, and it doesn't really seem like there's been rubber on this track since NASCAR last raced here 20 years ago. So that's where we're seeing these cars are slipping and sliding as the O2 car goes past the 10 here right on our screen. That is the O2 of the St. Clair driver, and that's that new blue scheme I was talking about just a couple minutes ago.
That totally is, and man, what a mess of cars right there. You can see Jeremy Miller, and that is the Purdue Boilermaker trying to make his way around, and all of a sudden that 49er Halterman has find himself in 5th place where he did not intend to be, and so we'll have to see just how that came to be in a moment. But back up at the front, your leader is Cody Hundley, who is quickly under fire in that ETSU car from the Ohio State machine. And Ricky, we are not surprised by this because that Ohio State machine had quite the race last time. You can see up by the wall trying to save those tires and then coming off just to get off the exit. But we expect that 13 car to be fast all night long.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them pull a gap here a little bit. They don't really have that much space between the cars behind them, maybe a second, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that 13 pull a gap. He was mighty dominant last week, got caught out by pit strategy. And speaking of pit strategy, how important are tires going to be here today, Josh?
Well, tires are going to be the most important because these cars are going to be sliding all the way through the corners. We did see that the track temperature was a little bit lower, about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's notably cooler than we were in California a week ago. But nonetheless, temperature is a bit of a moot point as these cars are trying to slide their way through the corner. And that is, to be clear, is you will be sliding if you're going to be fast. And so that's going to be how these drivers have to battle in this one. And you saw it right there, trying to maintain that position. In third place is Zach DeWale in St. Clair College. He's trying to get that done. He's pulling a little bit out ahead of Millerin right there. That's Jeremy Millerin from Purdue, and trying to set his sights on this very close battle as the 13, Ricky, makes a move to the inside.
Yeah, he's been looking to the inside for a lap or two. He gets a good run in the corner, but he just can't get that run off the corner, and I can't seem to. I have to wonder if that's just the way that the lines work. We know that typically the high line will get you a better run down the straightaway, and these straightaways are mighty long, as we talked about. So you can see him go here in the corner, but he just doesn't have the run off. I'll see if he'll start moving up to try and get a little more speed off that corner.
Yeah, you can see it looks big and appealing when you get down in the corner. Look at all that fresh real estate up ahead, but you can hear when he gets back to the gas, and look, 1 car length, 2 car lengths now to that Pontiac Grand Prix from East Tennessee State University. And man, what a race around this little joint.
Yeah, it's good to see cars back here, I'll tell you, especially after last night's race with Wilkesboro. It's good to see that we're reviving old tracks on iRacing, and got to thank iRacing for what they've done for the collegiate iRacing league and for sim racers everywhere. But I'll tell you what, we are going to do them good tonight with good racing. We already have seen the 10 car, the 110 car, sorry, and the 02 here, the Purdue and the St. Clair machine. They've been battling, and we see the top 4. The top 6 actually have quite a little break from the rest of the field. So this is that break I was talking about. That we have some space. We'll have to see if they keep opening up that gap. And quite frankly, I'm surprised we're running green here. These cars have been a handful.
These cars are a handful. Maybe it was so scary everyone decided to behave, even if for the only first about 10 laps or so of this one. But plenty of action up front, but a little back further in the pack. Again, Clint Halterman trying to make his way back up front. That's UNC Charlotte, and he has just gotten by Northeast State Technical for that position right there. That puts him back in the top 5. Currently, this is a battle on track. That's going to be Clemson University and North Texas. North Texas trying to follow Austin DeLong through with that red and white car. And right there, the 23 sliding up. But it wasn't enough, and those orange wheels are probably going to have to concede. Look at that run off the corner for the 199. So that is North Texas to the 8th position. And now suddenly, the Daytona winner from last season, that is the 76 car. Jason Willott is going to try and sneak right in there. He's got to defend from Matthew Burton behind the ETSU driver as well, and a big move from Williams to the inside. But yeah, Ricky, I just don't see anybody having success on that low side tonight.
Yeah, and I think right off the corner of the screen, we saw the 199 get a little loose off the corner, and I think that's where Williams in that Clemson machine was able to get a run, but it just wasn't enough. I'm quite interested to see if we can get away. I know that there's multiple racing grooves right now, but there just doesn't seem like there's any passable grooves. So we'll have to keep an eye on this battle, and the battle up front too. It seems to be the battle for second. We've got about 3 cars here looking to fight each other, and I know that that's the 02 and the 110 catching up to the 13 here.
Yeah, these cars are in a bit of a scuffle right now. The 02 up super close to that wall. That's going to be a great passing opportunity if your competitor finds themselves just brushing that wall. A lot of friction up there. The 02 there of St. Clair. He's going to try and make that work. But I'll tell you what, left to his own devices, has a big wiggle from that big blue machine right there. But I was going to say that Matthew Morton continues to work that low side, and so we will see if that is a fast way to go or if that's a recommended strategy.
And we'll have to see how the tires wear here too. Of course, this is a 160 lap race. We're 17 laps in, so we're gonna have to see if those tires hold up on that low side.
Yeah, they will, and it might just be a case of maybe that Buckeye machine is banking on a couple early cautions, and he would not be crazy to do so. These battles continue to race, but the battle for the top 10 as well. Jason Wallot finishes that group out, and he wants to get around that orange wheeled machine. Big slip from the 23. What's the 76 going to do? He's got to run. He's going to go to the inside. Ricky, let's see if he can make that momentum work. Big run into the corner. He was late on the brakes, or maybe late to lift, but off the corner, those drivers giving each other a lot of room, and to no one's surprise, man, that outside car just has such a run and get back to the gas sooner off the corner.
Yeah, Wallot had a run. He was going to try it, and how could you not against, one of the hardest competitors here in the 23, the Clemson machine. Those Clemson cars always seem to be mighty fast. It's a good battle, but again, we see that highline prevail. I wonder if this is going to be a type of track where you're going to have to try and fight for the outside. We know that there are some tracks where the outside line is preferred, and you're going to fight for that high line. I think that that's what we're going to start seeing here as the tires start to fade away.
Yeah, that could certainly be the case, and that's where we have some of those incidents almost a little bit reminiscent of the Darlington race, where NASCAR went a lot of cars up and just trying to stick a nose in that high side between the car on your inside, his quarter panel, his or her quarter panel, and then that wall on the outside, and that's going to be, when a late block from that front car, that's going to be when cars get in the wall, and we're going to have some good old pace laps around this surface. But I'll tell you what, we've shifted a little bit, because as we've been watching this 23 car, and in the wall, on the straightaway in the wall, not exactly where I would turn right, but because Clemson University is going to work on that North Texas machine up ahead.
Well, and I think right now it's just staying with the pack, right? This is the first racing on this surface for a lot of these guys. And they're just trying to see what their car can do early, not trying to get in any trouble, not trying to wreck each other, not trying to wreck what you got, but just learning. Learning is the biggest key early in these races, and I'm not surprised to see the 23 moving around. He looks like he's got a little run on that 199, but again, just not the run off of the corner that we like to see in these cars.
No, it wasn't. You can see getting in the corner. Oh, and he's going to be up high in the wall. He's kept it off, but will he run off the corner? Oh, look at that. A bit of strategy, Ricky. He was able to get that car backed up, sliding up in the corner, and Wallet, a good job to lift right there. But it looks like he got that car up in the corner and then got a great drive off. Is he going to try and look to the low side inside of Onofre right here? And I'm going to have to add that move to my notebook, I think, Ricky.
That was quite a fine move. He's going to try it again here. And you see the 76 also got that run, so I wouldn't be surprised to see here try and drive it in a little bit deep, try and get that spot. It seems like he conceded a little bit, but I'll tell you what, there's not going to be any passing on the outside if they're dragging that right rear on the outside. There's no room to go up there.
No, there isn't, and I was going to say opportunistic of the 76 there, as maybe some internet issues for that ETSU Buccaneer. And North Texas looks like just grabbed a little bit of that wall trying to race those drivers, and suddenly shuffling down the order. That's the Indiana Hoosier, Colin Culpa trying to get by, and Robbie Vrabel trying to follow suit on the bottom side. But I was going to say the 76, a good job there to try and follow that car through on the high side. But Drew Williams, took a little risk, was able to back that corner up pretty much and come out underneath. And suddenly your 8th place runner with a little bit of road ahead is Clemson University Drew Williams.
I'll tell you what, Josh, we were so encaptured with this battle that we got to pass for the lead over here. Matt Morton, that 13 car that we were talking about, right up to the front. We had some lap traffic. They passed the lap car, and he took advantage of that. They got another one coming up here. Let's see.
And we did, and I think the yellow is out, so we're going to have to pause that. That is okay. We needed about 5 cameras to cover all that. Up and down, you're correct with the lead change. And so the Buckeyes, and big trouble there for Onofre. That was Edwin Onofre from North Texas again, who was turned around right there. We'll have to see how that came to be. But nonetheless, Matthew Morton's going to be able to pick up and be the control car on this restart. And wow, what a move right there. And let's see if we can follow on with Edwin Onofre. He's in the corner, and just a touch. That's the 166 car, the Virginia Cavalier, Thomas Toomey. And not much you can do right there. He's probably trying to back that corner up. We were talking to race control, talking to the stewards a little bit earlier this evening about the opportunity for these cars to be unpredictable in the corners. And we've seen so many racing lines. It's going to be hard for these drivers to map that out, and certainly that was the case right there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josh, this caution, everyone's a taker on pits. It's going to be a busy time down pit road with these boxes. 13 leads them all down. Got a couple lap cars out there, but they'll pit next lap.
That's correct. So coming down pit road, a little bit of breathing room for that 13 machine, East Tennessee State. Maybe didn't get all the way caught up coming onto pit road, but here they come. These drivers are going to go ahead and get full service, new tires on these cars, the first of several sets of tires. I believe it's 5 for these ARCA Gen 4 cars, and you're going to want that on the rear end. Has somebody taken to tires a move? This is the time to experiment early in the race. And Ohio State, but Dustin Buck and Waldorf University, surely with 2 tires, is going to come off pit road, and that is going to be one to watch.
You want to talk about restart excitement? It just got exciting with that 2-tire move. We're going to have to do a little research to see if it was left sides or right sides and what the tire wear looks like, but that's a mighty bold move from our 68 Waldorf machine here, leading the race now. So it'll be interesting to see, and I think that 13 car is just, stomping his foot on the ground. He had just gotten the lead, and it just loses it just by strategy. So we'll see what that looks like here.
Yeah, and we'll have an opportunity to see if two tires is really the pro move here, because that driver is going to have an opportunity to get around, but we saw that passing is so tricky. So maybe Waldorf University wondering if track position is what they want, and they're just going to play defense with 2 tires. And you can see there is the Clemson University car up front. That car will be waved around when the lights are off on the pace car.
Yeah, our 123 machine had a pit stop early. They had some trouble there in the back of the pack. We weren't able to catch it on the stream, but he's a couple laps down. He's probably hoping for a couple more of these yellows to get back on the lead lap and start fighting with his Clemson teammates. So breathing room for the drivers and breathing room for us too. Finally got a sip of water in, and man, for single file racing, this is an exciting one. Actually, the 68 is heading down pit road again. So must have been a mistake, might have missed his pit box. Not quite sure what happened, but he's coming down, and that's a big sigh of relief for that 13 car. He's back in the lead.
That is, and speaking of the lead, let's see how he got that with the Ohio State Buckeye and Matthew Morton. He's trying to get that lead and wasn't on the low side, Ricky. He was able to make that move, bring that car to the low side. A little bit of an issue maybe from the lap car in front, so maybe this move was done through the corner. Look at that. The 110 had to give up a lot of space, and contact. So the 13 moving to the point with the aid of that lap car right there. We talked about this is not Auto Club Raceway, and it's very tricky to get that. And you can expect a little bit of a slide job here. It looks like Morton actually kept it down pretty well, but nonetheless, these drivers getting ready. So as we come back to the green, Matthew Morton, lights out on the pace car. He's ready to go. But that's how he got that. And the 0-2, a little bit of a checkup right there. Not sure if that was planned from the 0-2, but these drivers in any event are ready to go green. Ricky, here comes the green flag.
Green flag's dropping, going into the restart zone, and that 0-2 car comes up in position 2. That 110 drops back one more position, probably than he wanted to. 3 wide behind him. Looks like a checkup from P4 there, and we got a battle going on to this corner. Oh, there's a wreck up front. They're still green. There's 2 in the wall.
Big trouble as everybody tries to squeeze through. That's Cody Hundley. He's made it through, but there is a battle back here. That is Jason Willott now. Everybody kind of shoved together, and so Drexel University, a big slide from Indiana. Drexel University taking action to get around that, and you can see there Purdue University will also be interested in having some of that. But most notably Northeast Technical, and here is Kent Hundley in the 112. He'll try to make his way up to the front, but back here, Clemson University is trying to make that move. Indiana getting back up to speed here. These two drivers pretty friendly and very low line there from the Clemson machine. Drew Williams keeping that down there pretty low. So not sure if that was part of the plan, but yeah, Ricky, all over. We've got these drivers battling, and now making his way back up. And big trouble.
Goodness.
That is the 118. That is the Boilermaker, Andrew McCall, and caution is out, as we were just saying. Boy, the commentators curse in real time, and it feels like we say that every week, that Cody Hundley and ETSU were bringing that Pontiac Grand Prix up to the front, and all of a sudden had a face full of Purdue.
We'll have to take a look at that wreck, and maybe we'll get a look at that restart as well. But you know who this caution really helps is that 0-2 of Zach DeWell. He just came into pit, presumably to fix damage from hitting the right side on that wall right there on that restart. He's only 1 lap down, maybe 0 laps down, when he could have gone multiple, as we saw some of the other drivers that did pitting early. Big sigh of relief for that 0-2 car. Hopefully we'll see him back up here. But let's take a look at this wreck here with the 118. The 018.
Just loose right there, I think, and really trying to get that car gathered up. And pretty difficult right there if you are Andrew McCall. That is a hard, once you're sideways in these Gen 4 cars, there's not much to do about it. And yeah, and he almost had it right there on the apron, but just came back, and boy, that 110 car, that was not what that 110 car needed.
Yeah, nowhere for either of them to go. That might have just been a racing incident, but we'll see how our stewards define that incident. And yeah, that's just nowhere for the 110 to go. And these restarts, I'll tell you, he was up there, something happened, and we'll see if we can't find that. But he wouldn't have been back there without that restart stuff. So.
And this is all that Cody Hundley saw. He said, man, that car will probably go low, probably keep it down there. And obviously you're racing, you want to come back, and just full commitment there from Hundley, the Buccaneer, and really nothing more to do in that instance. And I think that Ricky, just about every driver on that grid would have made that same decision. I think that was a pretty tough outcome there.
Yeah, racing coach always says aim for the smoke. Well, that time it didn't work. So, you just got to do what you got to do. Not everyone can be be a movie star like in the Days of Thunder or Lightning McQueen missing all the wrecks. Unfortunately, sometimes you just got that bad luck, and I think that's what happened for our 110 car there.
I think so, and so on this side, we're going to see Clint Halterman in North Carolina at Charlotte. So if Clint can have a good restart here, he's got a good opportunity to be a car on the outside. We know these tires are worn a little bit. And I'll tell you what, though, we keep talking about tires, Ricky, but it may not matter as much as we talk about it, because a lot of these cars on the bottom have been fast, most notably that 13 car there in your frame.
Yeah, and you know what? The 07 car was in that battle we were watching early on from about 6th to 10th place. So it's interesting to see him up here. Some of those restarts shenanigans ended up well for the 07. And so we'll have to see what kind of speed he's got up here as we double file up this time, going 1 to go for our restart.
Yeah, we are, and for our analytical viewers who may notice that the track temp is staying pretty constant. We started tonight at 81, now we're up to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, and so not too tricky for this one here, and really not too much wind to speak of, but yeah, these drivers are going to have their hands full regardless. I think just between this combination of the car and the track, that's going to be something that these drivers have to work through.
Well, it's a lovely February 22nd here at the Rock with our 90-degree track temp as we get ready to go. Rolling down the backstretch, 13 is going to get another shot to try and take that jump out. And we'll have to get a good look at this restart again, because like the last one, it was exciting. And we'll see what we got here for this one.
Drivers getting ready, and you can see your control car will be Matthew Morton, the Ohio State Buckeye. That pace car will make that left turn off pit road, down, waiting for that green flag to come, and he's decided it's time to go. That 13 car takes off right away, wasting no time, and we talked about it. He wanted that spot, and Clint Halterman, I'll tell you what, will go straight to defending against that fast and hard charging Northeast Technical College driver, and Drexel University ready to pounce as always.
That Drexel car learned a couple things from the Clemson machine, that 23, and we'll have to see if he uses them up here with these newer tires as he slides up these cars. Just so much horsepower, and he's just got to commit to the power slide through the corner sometimes. So he's looking inside. He's got to run. Let's see if he holds it off the corner.
Yeah, this is what we've seen, and now he has, in fact, given up that outside. And so his biggest thing right now is defending from that Hoosier up on the high groove right there, and the Boilermaker as well. A little bit of Big Ten action up on the outside right there, and yeah, man, so hard, Ricky, as he gave up that outside. So hard to defend right there, and I don't think I would be doing that again, although he's got to get up there and close that door, and he does so on the Purdue machine and makes him go low.
What a run. Miller's going to take it. Let's see. Oh, a little bit of contact there. 76 looks like he kept it off the wall, but that's Miller in spot now, and Rubin's racing with these cars.
That was, and the 76 car will not be thrilled with that move. That was one of the more physical opportunities that we've seen all night from the Boilermaker, but no surprise in the driver of that car. And so the 100 has an opportunity right there, the 105 in Purdue, and he's going to try and get that car. And tell you what he is doing is he's driving that car in really low, really hard, and he's getting a good run off these corners. So he's staying in the gas, and maybe he's using a little bit more tire, Ricky. It looks like all fair play between those Apollo conglomerates right there, and you can see, I think, Purdue taking that spot from the Hoosier, and now back on the inside. So let's see what Drexel has learned. Will he try and go down deep in the corner? I don't know if he can do the same. He's clear right now, but he's got to get up, and a big wiggle as he comes off, and yet chooses not to close the door, which might be a tactical decision because you can bump straight on in those next-gen cars, Ricky, but if you catch a bumper to the rear of one of these, then your rear tires are going up away from the pavement, and that was going to be a big risk there for Wallot.
There's a little bit of a finesse with the pedal, I think, is what we're seeing. We know that Millerin is aggressive, and maybe this track is really great for his style. We just seen that Wallot tried to do the same thing, hold the pedal to the floor, got a little loose, so there's got to be some little bit of a finesse. We got some pit road stuff going on here with our Andrew Burrell Clemson machine. Still good to go, still good at the front, no yellow, but we'll have to take a look. So that puts 16 cars on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken. 16 cars, 23 cars still running here, and we are 46 out of 160 laps in.
That's correct, and these drivers are doing a really good job of, I'll say, balancing the race or decision making, Ricky. We expected, and so did race control, as the officials were talking beforehand, that this could be a very aggressive, very close quarters race. A lot of yellow flags, but so far only one or two for these drivers, and these drivers are able to figure out just how to manage the track and how this should work, as Vrabel is in the wall. That's St. Clair College, and he's going to relinquish some positions. In fact, he's going to have to fight to stay in the top 10, because that, I think, is, that is the 22 of Austin DeLong, who is down low right there. Austin DeLong on the bottom right there. And look at those cars up, just jumping right up to the corner. And, 75 is going to get a good run off there. So these guys are battling, and just behind them, look who is enjoying this. That is the North Carolina State Matthew Nordberg. Listen to him pedal that car up off the corner.
If there's one thing we learned from Vrabel's mistake there, and one thing I learned from being on track last week, you get these cars in the wall, and it's so hard to pull them off. It's like once you hit the wall, it's a magnet. It's keeping you there. So I'm not surprised to see him lose a lot of positions trying to get that car off the wall there. Something you may want to take a look at, though, is that Ohio State car has pulled out a massive lead off the rest of the field. P2 about a second behind, and then 2 seconds between second and third. So I know we've got a lot of competitive cars here in this field, but this 13, again, week after week, second week in a row, we see him taking off that Buckeye machine. It's mighty fast.
Yeah, that's correct right there, the Buckeye machine. We knew he'd be fast coming into the evening, and right here we can see that there is a lot of pace caught out. But I'll tell you who else is no slouch right now. Is that second place of Clint Halterman? You mentioned the gap back. He has made his pace and made a name for himself in this most recent Season 7, the spring season of this year that we just completed, the next-gen car here in the College Cup Series. And, yeah, really positive. It's still on the uptick here for Halterman, the North Carolina Charlotte student.
So now that we've got our cars spaced out here, it'll be interesting to see, especially around 6th and 7th, as they're kind of grouped up, as we're seeing right here. We'll have to see if passing gets any better as the track gets a little warmer. You would think not, but with the track being hotter, they might slip and slide a little more. We might see some mistakes from some drivers that we've already seen as we're watching the 076 car get so close to the wall. Maybe just a kiss, but we're going to see a lot of that tonight, and I think that we already have. So I don't know what you think, Josh. Or you think we're going to get any better passing as we see a group of 4 cars right in front of us here?
I'm not totally sure here as we wear off these tires. I think that we are going to open up some more grooves, and I think these tires will get it sorted out. You can see a little bit of marks there on the 0-2, but I'll tell you, look at this. Man, look at that car, look at that track, and look at this driver. That is Zach Doyle, and he is working that wheel, trying to get that car keeping in the right direction. Nothing but focus there as we go through. Always a wait for the camera, but down and off that corner again, getting all 800 horsepower down to the ground. And Ricky, yeah, these cars we continue to see are a total handful tonight.
If you want to know how hard these cars are to drive, you think of some of the people that have dominated in the next-gen car. I think of St. Clair, I think of the 02 car, and to see him, as we see some smoking from him, to see him struggling, I think that's a true tale, sign of how hard these cars are to handle.
I think so. Speaking of hard to handle, up near the wall and then coming off a little bit. That seems to be the thing to do at both ends of this Rockingham Speedway, Ricky, is kind of throw that car up there and straighten, almost like you think it's a dirt sprint car. You want to get that car slowed in the middle of the corner, rotate, and shoot off the corner. Either a dirt sprint car or a pretty quick shifter kart. Take your pick. But down in the corner, that seems to be the fast way that Drexel University is holding off Purdue's Jeremy Millerin right now, and those two have a little bit of a battle going on.
Yeah, those cars can't seem to drop each other. They've been close to each other this entire race. Saw a couple of laps good. The 105 just getting the door, doing a little beating and banging, and seems like Wallet got past Millerin. So we'll have to see. You think that aggressive driving from Millerin? I'm gonna say it. I think it might be that tire wear.
Yeah, I think so. And we can actually see a fair battle shaping up there where Virginia is warming up and trying to make a move there on the Indiana Hoosier machine. That's the 100 car, our alumni championship winner after a grueling 14-race season this spring. But right now has to defend from that Virginia machine. Thomas Toomey, he's trying to bounce his way along the bottom side. And, oh, by the way, look who's entering the frame. He's ready to pounce. That is Drew Williams, the Clemson Tiger.
Good racing here. Oh, what a big wiggle off the corner. That's a big loss of momentum for Thomas Toomey. And it looks like the 23 is going to get the run. We'll see if Vrabel can get by him too. That's just what happens here, and you know what? This really brought all these cars closer together. We got a Purdue car at the front of this pack. We got a 5-car battle for this spot, and they're in the wall. Look at that, Josh.
We do Millerin in the wall, and looks like trying to follow through right there. We got Thomas Toomey trying to gather that car back up. He's going to have a block to the high side, and man, these cars everywhere right now, just out of your shot and back in, as that's the Purdue Boilermaker. He finds himself 5th right now. 6th place going to be Drew Williams, but the battle for 7th is anybody's between Virginia, Indiana, and St. Clair College. Looks like Virginia, if only for the moment. P8 a little bit contested as the Hoosiers try and make way on the outside, Ricky.
I was going to say it's looking like a single file battle, but then we got all jumbled up here. We almost had 3 wide here for a second. And I know that the drivers are talking about having a lot of fun, so it's a lot of fun up here in the booth as we see the Indiana car looking to the inside, nothing doing there.
And nothing right there in the battle up front here right now. These drivers, so Millerin and Purdue trying to make that move on the outside. Yeah, Ricky, the outside seems to be the place to be right now, at least for these drivers. I don't know if the Buckeyes had some special sauce down there down low, but right now that seems to be it. And a big run up, that 23 car. He's going to try and push that Virginia machine up to the wall, but doesn't matter. Contact there, contact in the back between St. Clair College and the 23, and those two are going to go to battle. But now look who's on the high side. It's the Virginia Cavaliers. Can they clear off a 4? Really trying to push that Purdue machine down, and these drivers are going at it, Ricky. This is what we want to see between these universities.
Rubbing is racing, and while we want to see it clean, we do like to see a little beating and banging here and there. We see Miller starting to fall back more, and I just think it might be something to do with those tires as we see the 075 and the 105, little tap on the wall, able to keep it from riding the wall the entire corner. But now he relinquishes that spot to the 23 as well. Tulpa, another rival, another Indiana rival in the Indiana State car. Not the Indiana State car, the Indiana University car. Catching that Purdue car. Might be able to get him here. Got a huge run off of 2.
Down off of 2. We'll see how hard these two drivers race, trying to hang out up top. But Matthew Nordberg on, I don't know if that's fresh tires. I think everybody's, well, big slide off. Yeah, he was back to the gas, and yeah, never mind. He's on the same tires as everybody else who's sliding around this joint. But you can see right there, he's up to the wall. He's going to try and get a run off, but the battle continues up here. Again, we need about 30 screens to cover this one. The Virginia machine and Robbie Vrabel, these two have been nose to tail about the farthest apart they've been the whole time. Colin Koopa, that Hoosier is going to be outside, and a big slide and a move down to the bottom, and now the high side opens up. That could be very big for that 100 car. He's going to get pushed up in the corner, and look who slides through. Andrew Burrell, the Clemson Tiger. He's going to make that known down in the corner right there, that 888 car. But Matthew Nordberg is going to slide up. North Carolina State into the 9th position right now. And wow, what an event from those drivers.
Something interesting about Burrell is he's a couple laps down, so I don't think some of these drivers are going to be all too excited to see him up there trying to make it. But you know what? He's on fresh tires. He's got to get past these guys, got to get some laps back. Could be some team games, too, with these Clemson cars. And I see an awful lot of Jeff Gordon schemes for this Gen 4 series. So maybe the Gordon schemes are working together, too. Might be something there. But when in doubt, keep those cameras on those Gordon schemes because they have been fast tonight.
Well, it's hard not to. We know that Nick Stockner, a very skilled and big wall, big contact with the wall for that 22 machine in your frame. But the Clemson Tiger, Nick Stockner, very adept and paint schemes in high demand from that driver, and has churned out a couple for the Orange Wheel Racing conglomerate that we've got tonight. And so, yeah, you can see his handiwork up and down the track. And, yeah, it's pretty hard to get a shot without those flames in it, Ricky.
Well, and I'm not complaining. They've given us a show tonight, so we're going to have to see. This group right here is pretty much the only group that's jumbled up together. Got a smaller group up front, but they're all single file. And, of course, the 13 car, almost 3 seconds over Clint Alterman now. Oh, what a little bit of contact in our frame. Little punt pass, if you will, with the 166 and the 075. No love lost between those two drivers as well.
Big contact right there, but good on the 075 of Vrabel to keep that car together. But I'll tell you what, on fresh tires again, Andrew Burrell is trying to make his way through and probably didn't make as least disruption as possible, but man, that's going to be kind of hard sometimes.
He is in the middle of this fight, whether he likes it or not, and you know what, Josh? I guess that's what he's going to have to deal with. These cars are going to have to just move around him, and that's where we're at right now. 74 laps into this race, about halfway, a couple laps to halfway. We've seen one pit stop, we've seen one caution, and we've seen an awful lot of battling for an older track, and for something that seemed like it was only going to be a single file racing. Well, we were wrong. Leave it up to the CIL drivers to give us a show, and what a show it's been.
Yeah, right here we talked about Waldorf University, so that dual pit stop maybe not working as he would have liked. Jacob Wiest and UNC Charlotte, that's North Carolina at Charlotte, is trying to make that bottom side work right here again, but looks like that Chevrolet Camaro is going to do his best to defend on the outside and drive that Impala down a little bit right there. But the 68 is going to make that move, and he's going to make that stick, and yeah, in a bit of an Apollo sandwich right there. Dustin Buck, no stranger to speed and eNASCAR, and joining this summer for a Gen 4 event or two. Right there, he's going to try and make that move. A big move to the inside. He actually had a good amount of front bite right there, Ricky, but I don't think he had the rear grip to match.
Where did that come from? That's what I got to ask. And whoa, there we go, right into the rear, right into the wall. And speaking of the wall, something that you might have caught off the corner of your screen is one of the St. Clair College cars, the 075, got walled by another vehicle and is now entering the pits. His night might just be done. He's in the pits now, and that's a shame to see from that St. Clair College car.
That's correct. Not what you want to see, and that is the Robbie Rabel Jr. St. Clair College machine that is slowly moving down the timing tower. Had a bit of contact, and looks like we're going to need to buff that out before that car can continue. But back at it, Waldorf gathered themselves up, hung out, and here is the run down into turns 3 and 4. They'll try and exit right here. 2 for 1 coming out of this corner, and big slide right there down in the grass for Buck. Waldorf University continues on in 12th position.
That track temp sure is heating up now as we see them slipping and sliding. So from a driver perspective, I'm thinking, seeing them slipping and sliding, I'm thinking these tires have got to go. I'm on the phone with my virtual crew chief, or on the radio with my virtual crew chief, asking, when can I come in for some 4 fresh tires? We saw Burrell zoom past everyone on those freshies. We got to ask, when is the right time to come pit, as we're hitting halfway this time, lap 81?
Yeah, it's a great question, and these drivers know the wear is going on, so they're definitely going to try. And with these green flag runs, they're definitely going to try, I assume, to get these tires as far as they can and minimize the wear that they put on that next set of tires. Remember, if they go green, that's going to be the tires that they are racing those last 10 laps on, and they're going to want all the tire they have for that. But you can bet, once one person comes down, I assume the remainder will follow. And big trouble right there. Here's going to be your pit stops. Big sideways for those drivers. Dustin Buck involved. North Carolina at Charlotte involved. Waldorf University, that is Dustin Buck there on your screen. I see the Purdue Boilermaker as well, Jeremy Miller, and all those drivers trying to get lined up right there. There just wasn't enough room for everybody to brake as they wanted. A little bit of an accordion effect almost, but that was not what those drivers were looking for.
Well, we talked about it. These bumpers do not align. You'll see just a little bit, lift those rear tires, and that thing is gone. And I think someone else got lifted. Yeah, you got 3 or 4, and I think that 199 car, North Texas machine, also got a little piece of that as well. And you'll see it here. Those tires, you lift them up, that's it. You're gone.
Yeah, it was, and I'll tell you what, that Purdue machine I did get to see, I think was, maybe he was down there on the apron, as you can see. Not going to see in this shot is Edwin Onofre. He didn't have many options on board right there. Thought he was clear, doing everything he needed to. Just could look. Actually, I think he made it through. I think he made it through. Zero exit. So what a move. What a move there for the University of North Texas. And I suppose, Ricky, it's a good time to note that the University of North Texas, and specifically this driver, Edwin Onofre, gifted with some awareness. And so that's going to be coming in very handy right there in that instance you just saw, as these drivers finally hit pit road here.
So, yeah, pit road is a busy place right now. We've got quite a few cars a lap down. I really think that you don't have a choice here. You're putting tires on it and praying for another caution to get a lap back. Wave around really isn't an option. I think that you just got to get those 4 fresh Goodyear tires. And it looks like 4 tire stops all around too. So I don't think you can take a 2 tire stop, especially we just did maybe 40, 50 laps on these tires. So, these tires have got to be screaming. And I'm sure the drivers are going to be happy to have 4 fresh Goodyear tires on it for this restart.
Yeah, I think so. here is driver Jeremy Miller, and he's trying to get into the corner. Just grabbed that apron, tried to get up. That sent him up the track. I think he had a lift right there in an area where there was simply no margin for error, unfortunately. And so that's going to be one great shot right here. In fact, breaking into the corner even. I don't know kind of what that was. Yeah, Dustin Buck. If you're Dustin Buck, I don't know how to react to that, as it actually looked, if we can go a little bit further back, maybe some games along the straightaway, I'm not sure, but yeah, it looked like pretty tricky right here for Buck.
You have to wonder, I mean, what was he doing, coming into pit road or something? It just really doesn't make sense to me, but nonetheless, our stewards deemed that a racing incident. Millerin was not very happy with that outcome, and how could you be? For Millerin, you know, we don't really know the story, what's behind the wheel, but from his point of view, as we saw, he was in the corner and then he was sideways. So, racing incident that our stewards deemed that caution, and what a good thing for our drivers who needed some tires desperately.
Yeah, Ricky, it's what a job to be a steward. I can guarantee you that Millerin from Purdue is not going to be very happy with that call, because he got in the corner and got turned around, and he will say that he was turned around, and the driver behind from Waldorf University's Dustin Buck would say and should say that this car entered the corner at a normal speed, grabbed the apron, and suddenly couldn't get the car turned because he's halfway on the apron, and not my fault. Because who's going to lift in that situation with those three cars going down into the corner like that? And so surely no one will be thrilled with the outcome there. But sometimes that's the way it goes. And you know what? I think racing incident right there with all that analysis, I think was pretty fair, Ricky.
And I got to say thanks to our stewards. I know Matthew Warren and Alex Diamond are in the booth. They've been doing a great job. We've seen a lot of consistency out of our stewards, and as a driver, you tend to get angry at the people that are, you get angry at the police when they pull you over. But at the end of the day, who was the one speeding? It was the guy who got the ticket. And so I just got to thank them for laying down the law and doing their job. As we come to the restart zone here, and the 13, again, a huge jump on that restart. And we got one spinning through the infield, two spinning through the infield behind them. We'll see if we can't get a camera there. Race is still green, but we've got two sideways on the front stretch. I wonder what that was all about.
The race is still green. It's a pride. Maybe they're not close enough to the track. Has not triggered the iRacing caution at this moment in time. Looks like those drivers will get their cars turned around the right way. However, there's going to be competition pretty quickly here, as Matthew Morton is going to be the driver who comes around, and he's got a full head of steam coming off turn 2.
Well, and how could you not? That 13 car is zooming. That 13 car is on rails. They put some special tires on that one. But look at the 07. He's not letting them go away too quickly. He's learning from that last restart. You can't let the 13 car get out too far, or else he's gone. And I think the 07 is going to do everything he can to try and get past him. We might see a little more bumper action, a little more door-to-door banging. We'll have to keep an eye on this battle here.
Yeah, this battle continues to rage on here, as the Niner Esports team in North Carolina at Charlotte are going to try and make that car go around the outside, propel it forward. But I'm just not sure what options they have right there. It's pretty tricky. You see up there in the corner, and Matthew Morton is, again, he's got a full window, as I do see that another Clemson car, Andrew Williams, has had an issue here, but it looks like we will continue to stay green.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of complaints over the radio from the drivers, but it all seemed like they were like a little upset with the car. So again, we're hearing how hard these cars are to handle. You got to think, from the last time we had a restart, this track is considerably warmer, and I'm curious to see what the track temp is now, because this is not the same track it was 40 laps ago.
Yeah, and that track temp starting to cool off down there to 70 degrees. Yeah. So maybe these tires, not heating up the same way. These tires really not coming to these drivers, or certainly, Ricky, not in the first 2 laps of the run or so. And so we've all got to be accurate in our expectations here of these general tires.
Well, the 76 car has just gotten past Hunley, who was our pole sitter. He was quite far out of the top 10. A little bit, but he got back up to 3rd place on that restart, and now Wallet is making the charge to the front. He's not going to let those 2 cars get away. He doesn't want to see that at all.
No, Wallet wants to be right in the battle here, and he can do that. We know he's got the pace, and you can see we can ride right on board down to the bottom here, having to pedal that car really, really hard. And that is Drexel University's Jason Lalott, who's trying to get down in the corner. Look at these guys, 130 down in the corner, down to about 120. So probably not a ton of brakes, probably just lifting off, letting that car rotate, and then bam, all that horsepower up to about 160 on that short backstretch right here. And then this is where you can hear those drivers who are trying to get that power down to the back, and the same thing up to about a 170 in the corner. And yeah, maybe just a lightest touch on the brake right there. We ride on board with Drexel University.
So we're coming up on lap 100. That'll give us 60 to go here. Our last green flag run was definitely 50 plus. I don't have the exact numbers on that. We'll have to see if we can go green for that long again. Cars are getting pretty spread out, and I think that restart really spread a lot of them out because we had a couple sideways and a couple backwards. So we're not really sure what happened on that restart. Maybe we'll have to try and see if we can get a look at that. But pretty spread out, pretty calm compared to how the last green flag run was. But it's not going to stay that way for a while.
No, it won't. And Ricky, we do have a moment, but we can check out what happened to Clemson University and Andrew Williams right here. Looks like he already had some damage on that left front when iRacing picked up his crash down here into turn 1. Was it just this? So he was maybe getting a little bit loose out here. Yeah, that back end just stepped out. So something's not right with the toe on that car, and he had to bring that car back down pit road. That's why we did not have a caution. Luckily there, he was able to get that car continued rolling. But yeah, and look at that car continues to be a handful as Clemson University brought it down pit lane. But that's where we gathered up with Drew Williams.
Definitely some damage maybe underneath the car, or for sure aerodynamic. We can see the damage. So what a shame for that 23 car. We know he was fast. He was showing us the way around the track, but yeah, quite a shame to see that 23 car.
Yeah, he was. And Rick, you've got a battle shaping up. So the Northeast State Technical Machine has simply run down Drexel University right there. He's going to go to work here in the middle of this corner. Look at that steering wheel's turned all the way right. And coming down in this corner, he's going to do his best to get around Drexel University. No small task, but I'll tell you what, I think that you're correct, Ricky, that outside, that high side is a place to be. But in the wall is the 76. Will that be an opportunity for that driver, Kent Hunley?
Well, you said it was dirt tracking earlier, and these cars are turning right to go left, so I think you might not be too far off with your analysis, but this high line, he's going to see if he can get a run off, maybe pinch that 76 down, and he's got that run. We'll have to see where this shapes up going into turn 1.
Yeah, down into turn 1, if he can just keep a nose right there. We know Wallet, one of the more respectful and probably the more patient drivers. So yeah, no surprise to see a lot of room given, and going to fall in line behind Kent Hunley, that 112 machine. That'll be a position. So your final podium place, Kent Hunley from Northeast State Technical.
Yeah, nothing much that the 76 could do there, and quite frankly, that's, sometimes you got to win some, you got to lose some, as we see the 166 Thomas Toomey in the wall there, who was right behind that battle for third. So he's comfortably in fifth, and there's a 3-second gap to the next Purdue car behind him, behind that Virginia car. So, we're pretty spread out here. We're going to have some respectful racing, but 76, it looks like he's got a little something to say about that third position that he wants back.
Gonna say he's trying to make that move back. Drexel University is going to use that low line. Haven't seen a lot of success there, but doesn't matter. Willett's going to try and put that car down on the low side. He had some room, but ultimately gave up more off the corner, I think, than he gained. But we'll see. He hung with the Northeast State Technical car for a long time there, several laps, and we'll see if he can make his way back, do something in the future. But it's worth noting, I think, right now, this is a battle that's going on. 2 battles in your frame right now. We got Purdue University is trying to hold off. You can see Edwin Onofre right there in that 199 machine. North Texas is trying to get around. Meanwhile, just in front, you can actually see the 22 car trying to get around as well. And that is the next Purdue car, I believe, Nicole.
Yep, and it's a really nice battle so far. Everyone's pretty spread out, but all it takes is one mistake. We've seen it so far. It touched the wall, get a little loose off the corner, and everyone is swarming to get those spots. Racer mentality, you want every spot you can. It might be lap 105, lap 106. They're racing like it's lap 160 already. And how could you not? We had a long green flag run, as we see the 018 almost in the wall. That's one of those mistakes I was just talking about. You got to have every spot because you don't know, especially with how hard it is to pass here, if you're going to get a chance to get that spot later.
Yeah, he saw Drew Williams sliding that car up in the middle of the corner. Speaking of sliding right there, big slide off the corner for Austin DeLong. He tries to get that car off the corner right there, and Purdue University going to be in the corner. And again, I think, yeah, it's going to be very hard for any of these drivers to get around without making that move on the high side. And so I do see cars right now coming down pit lane, so a little bit going on, Ricky.
Yeah, and I think that these are the cars that had a little bit of damage right on that restart. I saw the O2 car come down. He had damage earlier, of course. That's our O2 car from St. Clair College. And we know that Drew Williams came down, and we see Stockner there in the 124. These are all cars that had damage prior, so there hasn't been any other wrecks since then, but maybe that damage was just too much to handle, and they'd rather be safe and come and get it fixed before trying to wreck anyone else. That puts 9 cars on the lead lap for us here. 9 cars.
Sometimes that is the way.
And the caution is out. Wreck on the batch.
Caution is out for Andrew McCall, who was part of that battle. The Purdue Boilermaker was part of that battle, and now is going to have to come back here. Yeah, he's going to get that car turned around, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll have to take a look at that as you see some damage on the right rear. And this is that battle you were talking about with DeLong sporting those new colors. Going into turn 1, that straightaway that's not really straight, as we talked about, sliding up into the corner. 2 Purdue cars have to wonder if there was a little bit of miscommunication from the team. Nope, just the 199. You know what? That McCall got up into the corner. Probably was going to hit the wall, had to check up. Nowhere for the 199 to go. He had to run off. And you said something about Darlington. This track does remind me a lot of Darlington. That wall comes up so quick. What are you going to do? You can't really check up. And these aren't like the next-gen cars. Like we already saw, you touch that rear end, those wheels get lifted. There's no traction, and that sends them around.
Yeah, that's correct. And we're going to do another set of pit stops now. These drivers are going to come down pit road and get full service on these cars. Right sides are up, and you mentioned it, cars on the lead lap of the leaders. So, yeah, these are your front-running qualifiers, and a little bit of a storyline here, Ricky, that nobody to be found, and big run off pit road for that 13. He's going to get the job done. So
with 9, now 10 cars on the lead lap because of our lucky dog, we have 6 cars that are 1 lap down. With us only having, less than 30 laps on these tires, and we all pitted on this last caution, do you think we're going to see some wave rounds here?
We might see some rave rounds. We can answer the question pretty quickly here as Matthew Morton gathers back up to the pace car, which he will do. And yeah, I see some cars coming in. So as these lap cars peel off, looks like the answer will be yes, we will have a handful, Ricky, of wave rounds.
Putting more cars in the battle. For the end of this race. With 50 to go, I think now is the prime time to take tires. We could go green the rest of the way, and these tires will be still in the good wheelhouse for the end. They're still going to be slipping and sliding. I wouldn't say there's a good wheelhouse, but it'll be a lot of fun to watch from up here, and I'm glad that I'm up here behind the glass and the air conditioning rather than in the car around this track right now.
That would be pretty tricky, 100%, as these drivers have shown both the battle that they're undergoing and the skill that they have. But I'll tell you what, is we can get one more look, and from the perspective there of Edwin Onofre, as he is trying to go on board right here. This is going into the corner, and Edwin is going to have, a car checkup coming off the corner. Right now, he sees a land of opportunity up front. Couple cars, 3 wide. We know that Purdue car on the outside, going to be a little bit slow, now a little bit loose. Look at all this room, real estate below. And yeah, just, boy, a little bit tight right there from Edwin. Looks like he came up maybe a half a groove more than he expected. And obviously looked like was trying to gather up. Andrew McCall was trying to gather that up, off the corner there, and so pretty tricky. And I don't know. We'll have to see how that one gets called, but nonetheless, looks like we're on racing this time by.
Just in from the stewards, they're going to say that Onofre had some avoidable contact there, and so that is a penalty, an end-of-line penalty for the 199. Like I said, I don't envy their job, and so I guess we kind of got to respect it, but that might just be one of those ordeals. We were talking about Darlington. We see it there a lot. What else can you really do there, So we see everyone doubling up, and the 199 is getting to the end of the line, and the pace car is coming in this time. So we're going to get going. Green flag racing again here. 13, that control car again, and not as big of a jump as he has gotten the last couple of times. I think the 07's learning. He's writing down notes in his notebook. Oh, and the 76 completely sideways, and the 166 underneath a big wreck going into turn 1 here.
That's going to be an issue. A lot of cars involved. Drexel University, Purdue involved, Clemson involved on the ticker. And just a big time to light up the rear tires right there from Drexel University. And we never even got going. That's going to be accelerating all the way down into that. And yeah, that's going to be, so unfortunate for those drivers and for those cars as well.
That really stinks for the 76. Yeah, like you just said, lighting up the rear's gotten a little too hot. Nothing he could do. Everyone else scrambling to get out of it. Toomey, nowhere to go, right underneath that car. 76 right on top of it, just like in Cars, Lightning McQueen, cars on top of each other. That's a crazy wreck for everyone else. I'd be interesting to see some other perspectives from back further in the pack. This is a good one. Let's see the onboard here.
This is Virginia that we just saw nowhere to go. That car coming up. We said aim. He had a room up top right there. And that went away pretty quickly, I would say.
Well, and so here's the other thing. Yeah, you might want to try and aim up top, but you got to keep control of your car too while you're trying to avoid everything else. You don't want to cause further carnage. Just nowhere to go there, I think, for the 166.
And that was what Nick Stockner saw. He tried to get that car slowed up. Oh, coming to a complete stop. But I'll tell you what, Ricky, no shame there. He's got all the fenders on it, and probably good on him there because cars were flying. Oh, and a little bit of maybe some cold tire syndrome. Actually, as he was trying to accelerate that car forward. But nonetheless, he's got all his fenders on that car. And yeah, that is pretty tricky for some of these drivers.
Hey, there's no shame in that little spin. I had one of those last week too, going for the Lucky Dogs. So, I'll call myself out on that one, but no shame in that. These cars, we're all getting used to them. We are seasoned competitors in these next gen cars, and so this is a new challenge for all of us. And so you're going to see quite a few mistakes like that, especially with it being the summer season, seeing some new drivers, having a little bit of fun. These guys are still all super competitive. And you're still going to see those mistakes because we're all still learning, and that's just an example of that from a seasoned driver in our CIL series.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, up at the front, consistency, the running order continues to be Morton, Halterman, and Hunley, also known as Ohio State. That's your Buckeye driver. North Carolina at Charlotte, and Northeast State Technical. That is your top three right now. And we've got a bit of a moment. The lights are still on, Ricky, as we do a quick run through the field. We mentioned that your leader was Matthew Morton at Ohio State, and then North Carolina at Charlotte and Northeast State Technical. After that, it's our Hoosier, Colin Copel right there, and then 22 is going to be Austin DeLong. And then looks like North Carolina State, Matthew Nordberg in P6. Drexel University's Timothy Wilms in position 7, and Clemson University's Andrew Williams, who's had an up and down night, but is going to be in the top 10 here as we get into the closing stages. Ninth place appears to be, after all that, Purdue's Andrew McCull, and then Purdue also located in that position. Whoops, excuse me. Looks like Purdue also in that top 10 there in Jeremy Miller, and he is on the outside of his Purdue teammate. in that 105 car. And so, Ricky, these cars are double filed. Now, that's your top 10 as they run. And looks like we're going to try this one more time. Maybe we can all keep those tires in mind this time around.
Here's to hoping, right? But we're all a little competitive. I don't think that you're going to see any lifting here. We'll see if the 07 keeps us close to the 13 as he did on this last restart. I was interested to see that what he learned from those last couple of restarts. Halterman is learning every restart, every opportunity. What can I do better as a driver to make sure that that 13 doesn't just scoot off on us? And so we're going to see it right here as they come to the restarts.
Yeah, we are the car focused right now on the North Carolina State Wolfpack. He'll have a good run into 5th position, but the battle is just up ahead. Can Indiana keep that high side? Looks like he's going to give a little ways, and Kent Hundley retains that position a little bit back further on. Car on the wall. That's the NC State Wolfpack. They're up high, and it looks like Austin DeLong. He's going to try. Can he make that bottom side work? And just a slip off the corner, and suddenly look whose turn it is. Clemson University looking to be around at that high side.
Good battle here, 22 and 23 car. It's good to see that 23 car back up because we know he had some damage. We saw him backwards on the back straightaway at one point. Got that damage fixed. Now he's fighting for a top 5 here.
Fighting up there for a top 5 he is. That car coming up off the corner. And I'll tell you who is behind. I think that is the 22 who is having to fend off the Millerin machine. That is Purdue University. He's going to try and smoke up ahead, but not sure who we can blame. Maybe the 76 there with that loss in momentum. Matt Nordberg having a little bit of time with that outside retaining wall, that safer barrier, you know, just jumps out at you sometimes. Big wiggle right there from that machine. That's the 22 car, but staying up with Matthew Nordberg. The Wolfpack is still defending that position, but man, little ACC battle here, Ricky. It's getting pretty tricky. And up in the wall again, I don't know. Maybe he's got a toe link knocked out and he's trying to get that wheel back correct. But yeah, a lot of trouble going down the straightaway there for Matthew Nordberg.
Yeah, and once you get these cars on the wall, it is so hard to get them out. And I think we saw that just riding lots of sparks. That smoke also could have been from our P2 North Carolina Charlotte car of the 07. That would be Clint Halterman. He was going for a pass and he was sideways through the corner. Nice save from that 07 car, but all that ground that he had on that 13 machine, that 13 beast, he lost it now.
Halterman, though, continuing to do a very good job there in 2nd place. I don't know if anybody in this field has anything for Matthew Morton right now, but going through, going to work, trying to save his car as much as he can. And I think that the 07 is doing a pretty good job of getting that car to the end for North Carolina at Charlotte. That's going to be one that they're going to want to do well at.
Well, and that's the name of the game right now. We've got a little over 35 laps to go, and we just got to make it to the end. To finish first you got to finish. And some of these drivers have battled attrition today. We've seen drivers sideways. We've seen drivers on top of other cars. We've seen cars backwards. So we'll have to see if, who makes it these last 35 laps.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. We're starting to get down to crunch time. That's when these drivers are going to start thinking about positions. Here we have Colin Koopa, and Indiana has chosen the right time to get hot. That Dodge Charger is going to be making a move right now. If he can hang off that Clemson machine, put a little defense on right there, he'll be able to make a move. But yeah, P4, this is the right time to start finding the speed that the car has, maybe even a little bit early still. But right now, a little bit of a battle shaping up between Clemson and Indiana. These drivers are going to want to get by one another because they each think that they can make their way to the front. But right now, Clemson University, again, with that orange wheel flaming paint scheme, he's going to have the opportunity to get that car around the Indiana Hoosier, but it's going to be tricky. He's going to have to go around the outside, Ricky.
Tell you what, I got to get me one of these flaming paint schemes. They are mighty fast today, and I'm telling you, it must be that Jeff Gordon paint scheme because I love me some orange wheels. All I got to do is get me a flaming paint scheme. I'll be up here with these guys. But jokes aside, these guys really are flying through the pack as we see. I think we got a battle shaping up here. A little bit of a mistake from the 112 getting a little too high, and we see a run here from my good friend Colton.
Yeah, and Culpa doing probably what I would bias towards as well. Actually, not pulling out to the low side. That's just going to expose you to the Clemson machine behind. I'll have none of that, and he's just going to wait. He's got to wait for an opportunity for that 112 to make a mistake here, and that seems to be it. Is passing seems to be at the premium of just making the mistake, letting that driver in front of you have a small goof.
Well, and that makes this a race of patience, is what it does. And so we're seeing a lot of drivers' patience be tested. We're going to see him look to that outside, look to the inside, got that run off the corner. Just have to see what he can do in a turn one. Maybe a slide job. Will we see it?
Whoa, he tried. That car was sideways before he got to the corner entry. Holy cow, the dirt sprint cars are out, but that was not the answer, Ricky, because look who's moving on the inside. That is Clemson University's Drew Williams. That 23 car is moving to the inside, but well, it seems like the inside is not the place to be. So maybe, Ricky, if you can keep and maintain that outside, you can take those shots that Culpa did, as long as the inside, the inside is all you're leaving open, but lost a ton of ground to that car up ahead, that Ken Hundley machine.
Culpa also had some help with the fact that the 23 was also sideways out of the corner. So that saved him a little bit. Not sure that Williams could have done much more. But again, like you said, the low side is just not the place to be. And it's so interesting how quickly these drivers' brains have to go from offensive to defensive. Because when you go from a slide job like that, your mind is set on, I have to get this position. When you start to see yourself sideways, you are thinking, I have to keep this thing straight. I got to make sure I don't lose any more time than I already just did. And I think that we saw a really good job with that.
Yeah, look at this battle. We just saw Purdue sneak by North Carolina State, and not much competition there. As again up by the wall, North Carolina State. He's going to try and get in this corner. Look at this perspective. That track kind of stretches out up ahead. He's going to try and see if he can get low straight off the corner. Maybe a new tactic unlocked, Ricky. Keep that car down there. He does wait a little bit longer to get back to the throttle. We can hear it. But you see right here, he is closing the gap, and I don't know if he can complete that pass low. Little cough there on corner exit. But a lot of fun watching these drivers compete right here.
Well, and it's so good to see the onboard, because even from the broadcast booth, sometimes we don't realize what it's like to drive these cars. And you see them get down there in the corner, and you see what they got to handle with. You're seeing the car bounce up and down. You're seeing them hit every single bump. And as a driver, you're just thinking, how am I going to keep this thing? How am I going to keep the tires underneath me? The 076 car is doing a really good job of that, trying some new tactics. As we see Culpa, again, not giving up with this pass. He finally caught back up, gained that ground back, so we know he's fast enough to do it. Is he patient enough? That's the real question.
Yeah, is he patient enough, Ricky? And I'm afraid patience is going to run out here pretty soon, because we're looking just about 25 laps to go. Actually, it'll be 25 when they cross the stripe this time by. And yeah, we've actually seen that Culpa and that Hoosier machine has the pace to get up front, and he's going to think to himself, man, if only I could get around, maybe I could challenge for that second position. But he's going to have to do that now. I mean, it's going to be pretty tricky to get up front and run down. He's got about a second and a half gap. These two drivers do have to P2. Big slide, big wiggle. That's not going to be good for the tires. He's going to get up and defend that high spot again. But yeah, a big slide job there from Drew Williams. And these drivers are driving, Ricky.
They're driving like it's 156. It's 130 or 158. It's 138. So it's good to know that the battles are coming. What a huge run there on that inside. And he might have found something there, because look at that. Right on that bumper coming down the straightaway.
He's found something, man. I wonder if he has the courage to put that nose and get a run off turn 4, put that nose when Kent Hundley and Northeast State Technical, when they leave that open for about 100 feet of racetrack. I don't know, and I don't even know if that's a smart move, because you know that if you have a late reaction from that 112 car and he tries to get up when the nose is already there, that's both cars in the wall, and that's the race done. So that's going to be a risk that we'll have to see if that Apollo machine there, the Hoosier, is willing to take.
All about risk versus reward, as we see the 076 Look to the outside of that 105 car, that Millerin machine. Again, just another battle where these guys are trying a different line, because we saw the last group doing like a Darlington 1 and 2, going up to the wall and then cutting it down. And these guys are doing the opposite. They're starting it low, they're sliding it up, and then they're pelting it back down. A couple of different lines here. Quite interesting to see.
Yeah, a couple different lines. These drivers neck and neck. North Carolina State, Purdue, down into the final corner. Looks like a big run for the high side and a big wiggle from that 076. The Wolfpack struggling on the low side to keep that car down there. And Ricky, no surprise there. That's been the story of the night, but those cars are going to have to single file out again. And it looks like as well for the time being, the Indiana Hoosiers have a bigger, little more full in their mirror than their windshield.
So this Hoosier battle right here, this IU battle, is the battle for third place with Hunley, and the battle that we just saw was a little bit behind them. That's 5th and 6th and 7th place. Sorry, that's 6th and 7th place. And as we see, again, just the nose, a run here. That's the first run we've seen off the low side in a while.
Yeah, that's the run off the low side. I got to think that the Wolfpack here is committed to going on that low side and trying to get a run off the corner here. Neck and neck down the front stretch. Who will it be in a turn one? We heard about sliders. Will it be a slide job? It will not. And the Wolfpack there has to back out of that one. But pretty bold move there from that Purdue machine. Ricky, they purposely, I suspect, kind of moved into that corner. You can do that, right, is to avoid contact. And we see it a lot in dirt oval racing, in fact, which we know that Jeremy Miller, no stranger to that scene as well. And that's where he would get the idea to come to that corner a little bit shallower, but he trusted his competitor there in Matt Nordberg and in NC State to maintain his line and to back out of that. And so that is a decision that you can make, Ricky.
So I'm taking a look at this, and it seems like the bottom line in 1 and 2 is a better bet than the bottom line in 3 and 4. Most of our slides so far have been off of turn 4, and that doesn't mean that you can't slide off of 1 and 2, but it does seem that you can pick up that momentum. We saw it. I just saw it out of the 23 car. I caught Coppola a little bit in that Indiana University machine. And that might be the way, but at this point, with 14 laps to go, you have to try everything you can.
Yeah, you do, and there was a move right there. The Purdue car sailed it off into the corner there in 3 and 4 and has actually left the high side up for grabs, and I don't know what the strategy was. With ease, the Wolfpack moved into the 6th position, and we've seen that he's had the pace for a while. Maybe he just decided, hey, now's the time to, we've done this long enough, and time to give it up. However, I don't know if I'd want to give it up, with just over 10 laps to go. But this next battle on track, Clemson continues to work on Indiana. Ricky, to the inside.
That 23 car, he's been learning. He's been lurking on our alumni champion. What is he going to do? He doesn't have that run again, but that doesn't mean he's going to stop. Andrew is mighty persistent, and it's going to be interesting. What a lunge in there, and he's in the wall. The 100 car almost in the wall there too. And like I said early in the race, they're going to push the limits. They're going to drive it in deep. They're going to try and do the slide jobs that we've seen, and it's that point of the race. It's go time.
It is go time. Look at him up there, the wall, straightens out that corner, and he is closing the gap on this view. Ricky down at the corner, and turns. And I'm not sure what the miscommunication was, but both of those cars sideways in the wall. We're going to stay green, and that will be a fun interview if one of these drivers makes it up to the top 3. But anyways, I think that 3rd position now is locked up 2 seconds up the road. This battle continues to rage on, but I'll tell you what, quickly, for the final top 10 position, Drexel University is trying to hold off Waldorf University and Dustin Buck. After those drivers try and negotiate everything, they've both had a lot of excitement and a lot of incident points in their race. But this battle goes down to the corner. What will Buck do on the inside? Looks like he's going to try and get in there, but back to the gas is the 76. Meanwhile, Drew Williams is ahead of Colin Culpa right now, and the gap about half a second right there. And so that has taken place, but looks like the 76 is going to be right here. 8 laps to go, 7 laps to go this time by. Ricky?
I'll tell you, over the radio, we heard Williams, I'm so sorry, and we heard Copa, okay. No love lost between those guys. But I thought we had a caution there, Josh. I'm not going to lie to you, but just all the excitement. These guys have been sitting on all their cards for 153 laps now. You got to take them out. You got to do what you can do. And we're going to see that in these last couple of laps.
Yeah, and here we go. We talked about moving up the corner. That's the 18 machine trying to go to work on the Austin DeLong car. That 22 going to be in the corner, getting into the corner. You can see, well, we've seen this one before. Purdue cars have to negotiate each other. Looks like McCall on the low side. He's going to get past. He's also going to get right next to his Purdue teammate. Those cars will sail off into turn one. As they do so, looks like Millerin will give way up top, and through goes McCall. He will have that sorted, and suddenly that gap at the front, I don't know if there's been something going on right here, but Clint Halterman is just a touch slow and up in the wall, so maybe the right front starting to wear out on these cars, Ricky, but Clint Halterman up in the wall, and look who is trying desperately to get up there with 5 laps to go. That is Kent Hunley in Northeast State Technical, and look at this move continuing. Austin DeLong continues his battle, and Millerin right here. All these drivers trying to battle, and Tyler Klingensmith enters the frame as well. In that distinctive Robert Morris University car, can he get the job done on newer tires? Not right there. He's going to let the leaders go ahead and battle.
I'll tell you what, that 07 car is hitting the wall every corner. There's got to be something wrong with his tires. Hunley is hunting. He smells blood in the water. He wants that one extra position, and there he is right there, as we can see on your screen. You got to ask yourself, what are you willing to do for an extra spot? They're both on the podium here, but they're both in the wall there. You got to think, he's hungry, but he's putting himself in the wall. You're going to open that door for Andrew Williams and Clemson University to get that podium spot.
Yeah, that's going to be something to consider, but I got to point out, Ricky, look at these drivers keeping off of one another and driving really close, pretty skillfully down the front. It's going to be a run from the high side. North Carolina at Charlotte. He is going to try and defend as best he can up on that high side. Can he get the run off the corner? I don't see it happening. He's just hanging on by a nose, but Northeast State Technical has every opportunity here in the corner. We'll have to see how Clint decides to run this one back to the bottom. That was not on my bingo card, but maybe he knows something we don't. And could this be a slide job, Ricky? Down into the corner, he is clear.
If I'm Hunley, I'm upset because I'm saying you were just in the wall the last 5 laps. How the heck are you getting all this now? So this is a good battle as we come to 2 to go here at the line. This is going to be the battle to watch. It's the battle here as we go on board with Halterman. Again with that crossover move with the run. Is that going to, with this long front stretch, is that going to be the move? What spot do you want to be in coming into the last lap?
Yeah, the white flag has flagged down here. Stuck on the bottom. North Carolina at Charlotte trying to get around. Northeast State Technical up high. Got to make it stick on the bottom. Who can be the most delicate with the throttle? Coming to the checkered flag. Your winner is the Ohio State University, and your second place finisher will be Kent Hunley for Northeast State Technical. That crew, a hard-fought second place, and your final podium position going to Niner Esports and North Carolina at Charlotte. A really solid run from that crew up front all night long. And back through the field, we can see, looks like Drew Williams did complete that 4th position, and then the Hoosier finishing the top 5. But Ricky, wow, all those drivers trying to compete for their positions, and that was a proper Gen 4 Cup race. These 800 horsepower cars, they're fighting for every position on this track.
Well, and the best thing to see, other than Morton's burnout, which he probably deserved last week too, is just the respect on the track between all these drivers. We all race hard. From a driver perspective, I love racing these guys. I love giving each other respect because at the end of the day, yeah, we're competitors, but it's always a really close-knit group of friends here on the sim. And it's good to see that respect going both ways, especially in that battle. Again, there are some drivers on this service that you got to ask, what are you willing to do? And what a good, clean race to finish out this second race of the Garage Shop Cup Series race.
Yes, what a move for sure. And it looks like the drivers still negotiating their way into the cool down room. So, Ricky, maybe we can take a moment to walk through that grid. And boy, the race it was right there as we pull that up for these drivers after a barn burner of a race and plenty of green flag laps at this Rockingham Speedway. Ohio State University is going to bring it home. The Buckeyes find their first victory lane here in North Carolina tonight, and through Matthew Morton, who had plenty of pace for the whole race, I think is the term for that. Moving on through the field, Northeast State Technical with a brilliant late race move and racecraft overall. A couple laps there. Kent Hunley in second position, followed by Clint Halterman from North Carolina at Charlotte. Clemson University is going to find themselves in fourth position with Andrew Williams in Indiana and Colin Copa. The Hoosiers finish your top five. North Carolina State, after a couple of run-ins with that outside retaining wall, Matthew Nordberg's going to bring the Wolfpack up to sixth place, and a really good run there from a tough beginning to the race. And the Boilermaker, Andrew McCall, he's going to find himself in seventh position. Austin DeLong going to be in eighth place for this one, and Purdue University again in ninth place, Jeremy Miller, and Drexel University's Jason Willott going to finish up the top 10. After a tough start to the race, Waldorf University's Dustin Buck will be in 11th position, and Drexel University's Tim Wilms will be in 12th position. North Carolina at Charlotte, Jacob Wiest is going to be in 13th after the end of this one, and we saw him run in the beginning of the race. North Texas, Edwin Onofre, going to be 14th after a tough one. Robert Morris University and Tyler Klingensmith going to be in 15th position, at Clemson University's Nick Stockner going to be in 16th. Finishing for St. Clair College in 17th position is Zach DeWale. Rode on board a little bit with DeWale this evening. And the Virginia Cavalier collected in that calamity in turn one. The big one, if you can call it that, Thomas Toomey, is going to bring that car in 18th position. And finally, Andrew Burrow, Clemson University, that 888 machine. He'll be in 19th. 20th will go to Robbie Rabel Jr. from St. Clair College. The ETSU Buccaneers, East Tennessee State University, is going to have 21, 22, and 23 with Cody Hunley, Matt Burton, and Lee Nutter in this one. And the Arizona State Sun Devils, Connor Levy, going to find himself 24th position. Wingate University's Brandon Schulenberger will finish this one out. And Ricky, that was, again, quite the race. But let's see if we have anybody in the waiting room, and it appears we do.
We're going to pull in our third place finisher, Clint Halterman from the UNCC camp. Clint, welcome to the booth. Congratulations on your third place finish. We want to talk to you about those last couple of laps there. What was it like battling Kent Hunley, and how was your car handling? Because we know that these tires sure were a handful.
Yeah, thanks. My car was really bad at the end. On the last restart, I tried to do anything I could to just try and get past Matthew there. And I burnt up my stuff there, and I knocked down the wall about 3 or 4 times, I think, on that run. I think 3 laps in a row, I hit the wall into turn one. But yeah, my right front was just dead. I couldn't turn, and it was a really fun battle there with Ken at the end. I wish I could have kept P2, but I'll take P3. This is just a really tough track that I don't have many laps on. So yeah, there's a fun battle there at the end.
Clint, congrats on the finish there in third place, and yeah, battle all night, and we saw battles up and down the scoring tower. But here at Rockingham, it's our first trip to it, and I think everybody agreed that it was pretty difficult. But what made this so hard? We saw the cars jumping over the bumps. We saw cars kind of sliding through the corners. What did you learn this evening?
Well, it was exceptional. Well, the thing that was, I think, the hardest was just passing. It's anytime you try to get to the inside, especially in turn one, if you go to the inside and someone's on your outside, you just slide up the hill. It's like it's weird. But yeah, it was hard to get. I felt like the entry to the corners, the car was just kind of tight. So, and then the exit off of 2 and 4 were loose. So it was you're tight in and loose off. It was just a handful all night, and the bumps didn't help either. It's just super bumpy everywhere. So if you put the power down wrong, you're just gonna just get sent by the racetrack.
And yeah, I want to ask something about that too. We had quite a few restarts, and we know that restarting on these colder tires proved to be a handful. It seemed as the night went on, every time you restarted in second, you got a little closer to chasing down that 13 machine. Can you talk to us a little bit about the learning how to chase that 13 and what he had that you guys didn't tonight?
Well, I'll tell you, after these first two races, I'm gonna have nightmares about Buckeyes just staring at the rear bumper for these first two races. But yeah, it was just I know that I think at the first restart, I just tried nailed the throttle, and I almost lost the car because of so much wheel spin. So each restart after that, I just got a little bit better, just being able to put the throttle down. And it's just really tough to restart on the outside lane second, especially here. It felt like it was just super hard to get the power down. Um, but yeah, it's just fortunately, I got a lot of practice too, restarting on the outside with Matthew starting first last week too. So I got, I kind of knew maybe a little bit more of what he was doing, but it's just really hard to beat him and starting on that outside.
Yeah, that outside is a hard place to be for sure. Well, before we turn you loose, Clint, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just want to shout out my friends and family as always. Yeah, just glad to have their support.
Very well. Well, they are proud tonight. That was a solid 160 laps from yourself in North Carolina at Charlotte, Niner Esports. And congratulations again, third place here at Rockingham, Clint.
All right, let us bring in our second place finisher now. This is Kent Hunley. Kent, congratulations on the second place finish. We saw quite a charge there at the end. You were battling with the 23 and our alumni champion, Colin Copa. Talk to us a little bit about your last 50-ish laps that we went green and what that was like battling your way up to second place.
Yeah, I was just trying to hang on. I knew tire fall off was pretty bad. They was putting the pressure on me. The 100 car and the 76 car was up there battling. I just had to try to maintain speed and just kind of hold my position there till they fell off with like 20 to go. Then the 07 kind of fell off there, and I kind of got by him there toward the end, but I didn't have nothing for the leader there. He done pretty good, won the race.
Yeah, Kent, congratulations. This is Josh here up in the booth. An awesome run to second place, and we had a blast watching you the last 10 laps or so for yourself and Northeast State Technical. And, we saw a number of cars making it work up high, but occasionally we would see a car that would make a pass, down low or find something on the low side. What was the trick there? Are drivers, straightening out the exit? Are they getting in the corner pretty deep? Or how are drivers making that low side work?
Yeah, if you wasn't pointing straight off of 2 or off of 4 there, you wasn't coming off there straight. You'd be wrecking loose going to the infield or the backstretch wall back there.
Well, I think we we saw that a number of times up here in booth. But before we let you get back to your evening, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out or give a thank you to here on the broadcast?
Thank my sponsor, Northeast State Motorsports Program, Shock Eye Racing Performance, School of Sim Racing, Speed Ranch Setups, and everybody watching. Appreciate y'all putting on the show. Giving me a chance to go up and drive with y'all.
Well, very well. I think Ricky and I can agree that you put on the show, and we were happy to spectate. But second place at a very difficult track and a very difficult car. Ken Hunley, congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
Talking about putting on a show, let's pull in our winner now. The winner of our Rockingham race in the Garage Shop College Cup Series, Matthew Morton. Talk to us about your race and your complete dominance today here at Rockingham.
I mean, not much really to say from my perspective. I think it was a really fun race. Um, Once I just got into clean air, I just tried to never look back and especially manage my stuff more and more. I think it really showed later in the runs, but um, yeah, not much to say. It was really fun battling with Clint and I think it was Ken second there.
think that was Ken and Clint up there right behind you. But yeah, especially for the first half of the race, you had a mirror full of the UNC Charlotte crew. But we saw a lot of defense, holding on a position in the high lane. Did that seem to be the theme all night? Because I think that Ricky and I noticed you were the one driver who was getting the most done, I think, on that low side.
So early in the race, I tried to take the low line, try to learn what was good and what was wrong. Um, in the in the early part, I saw the leader. He was using that top lane, and I couldn't really even see a pass. Just trying to pass him on the low side. So the top was definitely the predominant lane tonight. But I did try to use the low line there to try to take care of my stuff. The car liked to get tight later in the run, so I just tried to manage the right front as much as I could using that lower lane on the racetrack.
Well, you sure as heck did a great job of managing those tires and pulling out. You ended up lapping everyone up until 10th place. So my last question here to you: it's your second race in CIL, a rookie this season, brand new in the Gen 4. It's good to see Ohio State in our competitor circle. What has it been like to put your competitors on notice with your domination last week? What should have been a good finish for you kind of got caught out on pit strategy. Talk to us about what it's been like to race in your first two races and what you're enjoying most about other than putting everyone laps down.
I think one of the most enjoyable parts about this series is I get to compete against other college students and alumni, just showcase our abilities, even if it's not the eNASCAR scene. Um, but I also do like this Gen 4 summer season, kind of stepping away from the Cup car I saw last season. I think the Gen 4 is just a good car for learning, and it's really on edge, so you got to be really precise in what you do. So, but the first two races have been really fun from my perspective. I think the racing product up front and who I've been battling has been great so far, and I'm looking forward to future races.
Well, Matthew, I got to tell you, as a competitor last week and a viewer up in the booth this week, it's been a blast to watch you and see you grow. We hope to see you grow a little bit more, but maybe slow down a little bit for the racers on the track. Congratulations on a great win for you and your Ohio State University team. Is there anyone you'd like to thank before we send you home to enjoy?
Um, Not much really. I just appreciate you guys letting me race in the series. Appreciate all the work you guys do in the booth. But yeah, thank you and go Bucks.
All right. Well, that is Matthew Morton, your winner of the second race here in our Garage Cup College Cup Series race. Josh, what an ending to that race, and what an amazing race overall.
Oh man, what a blast! And we kind of had it in the first third or so. It was the Buckeyes and the 49ers trying to compete for that top spot, and then as the Buckeyes kind of solidified themselves in the top spot, man, we just got so many battles up and down through the pylon and a ton of green flag laps where we got to really dive into both the nuance in these cars and this track and the skill of our drivers and the diversity. We saw patience, we saw aggression, and we saw it at different points in the race. So from a race event perspective and motorsports, man, that was we might have to sneak this one into future schedules, Ricky. Not sure how we're going to do it yet, but I wouldn't rule it out.
As a competitor, I hope to be back here in the next gen car. It's been a blast watching these Gen 4 cars, but let's tame down the horsepower a little bit and let's see these big cars that you can beat and bang around. Let's see how that spices up the races.
Very well. Well, we are 7 days away from taking these cars to the Daytona Super Speedway next Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And if you liked that contact, tune in for more on Wednesday night, same time, 9 Eastern for the green flag on the College GR86 series this summer on the roadside. It's going to be very exciting as well, and a full contact sport as we saw last Wednesday. Only 2 days till that. So, from myself and Valparaiso University's Ricky Paz here up in the booth, I thank you for watching, hanging out with us, and we'll see you next week.